And so you believe that blacks are the first on the earth, and then the whites came from the blacks. How do you explain that? Well, you just somewhat said it because you said it kind of brainwashed and they've been dumbed down. Um, how do you explain when I don't know? I know you don't know, but I was born in Alabama. I grew up under Jim Crow laws.
No, I've heard this before. I know a little bit about you, Jesse. It's not my first time seeing you.
And you still came on. God bless you, man.
And I still came on.
Right on.
Yes, sir.
So how do you explain then if the whites came from the blacks? When I was growing up, black people got married. There were grandparents around who were married. The black parents set examples. They taught us to work while growing up and be responsible, to treat everybody the way we would like to be treated. There were no black leaders and all that crap. The parents were the example, and when we grew up into adult, we became our own leader. God lead us. We didn't have some physical leaders. When we moved into a neighborhood, we would keep the neighborhood clean and decent and build on it and make it look better. How do you, and then, so we had the Jim Crow law with the black water fountains and white water fountain, all that crap, but it didn't affect us in any way at all. We loved everybody the same.
We were actually better off at that time, yes.
So how do you explain that time, a period in time when the blacks were better off then? They were better than the whites in that they were leading the way in morality. They didn't hate the whites. They didn't hate anyone. How do you explain then and now?
Well, come on, Jesse. We're from around the same era. I'm not sure how old you are. I feel like you're a little bit older than me.
I'm 31. No, I'm 71. I just turned 71 last Friday, May 22nd.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
You look great for your age, Jesse.
Black don't crack, buddy.
I'm 51.
Are you?
Yes,
That's hard to believe. I told you, black don't crack. You don't look 51.
It don't. So listen, you old enough to know about when during the 60s, when they started to incentivize getting the black man out of the house.
Yes.
Okay, in order to get welfare and all this type of, oh, sister, you can get it. But you can't have no man living in that house.
That did happen.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So once that divide and conquer started coming in, that was the beginning of everything that you're talking about now, Jesse.
And that was encouraged by the civil rights leaders, those people who were running the civil rights movement.
Yeah, all of that. Oh, let's integrate so we could sit next to these people at lunch counters and all of that. So we could go to school next to people that hate us, that don't want to teach us. It's not in their best interest to even teach us properly. And here we have our own schools, our own institutions. We was doing fine. We had Black Wall Street, all that type of stuff. And,
so
we gave it all up for integration.
Do you agree with me that the civil rights movement was a horrible mistake? It was one of the worst things ever happened to the blacks?
The civil rights movement, as far as its integration piece and all of that, yes.
But there's no such thing as civil rights.
Integration.
I know there's no such thing as civil rights. That's a made-up thing, a made-up idea.
What do you say it is? Human rights?
Yes. God-given right. It's God-given rights. But the one thing that you said, white people didn't hate black people back then. What the white was fighting against is that the blacks were trying to force the whites to love them. And you can't make anyone love you. Had they left the people alone, we would have come together based on character, based on what we believe in. Blacks and white would be better today had the civil rights movement not happened than it is now because of the civil rights. It's divided.
Well, that's probably why the civil rights was introduced then.
Yeah. To divide.
For us not to be able to get along.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And that was part of the plan then. You know what I mean? And we think, civil rights, it helped us move forward. Like we off the back of the bus and all this dumb shit.
You're right.
Like that really was insubstantial. Like, so what that I could ride in the front of the bus now? My whole fucking community is fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm riding in the front of the bus. Like, okay.
And that was a setup, even with that woman going to the front of the bus, because the NAACP had another woman. They had picked another black woman to go and sit in the bus, and they had her back. But just before she did it, they found out she was pregnant out of wedlock. And during those days...
Oh, I heard about that, yes. So they said, oh, no, you know good.
Yeah.
Good.
So they got this other woman.
One.
Yeah. So it wasn't like this woman got off work one day and she's like, Lord, I'm tired. I ain't going no back in no bus. It wasn't like that. So where do you get your identity from? Your color or your character?
Your color or your character?
Yes. Where do you get your identity? From your color or your character?
I think they're both a little bit intertwined, Jesse.
In what way?
You know, I think your color, you know, has DNA in it. And within that DNA, there's some character that's built into that.
And so you get your color, your character from your color and you get your morals from your color and your character?
I think your color has, not entirely, but it has something to do with the basis of your character.
Like
Yes.
what, for an example?
What you have a proclivity towards.
Meaning
see
what?
I'm saying?
No, meaning what?
I mean, some people are more warlike than others. It's in their DNA.
Meaning that they're more violent?
More violent. Some people are more some people are more, have a proclivity to try to colonize people more than others.
Why are blacks more violent than whites? Is it that part of the brainwashing thing too?
We're not more violent against whites. What are you talking about?
I said than whites, but there are, speaking of blacks being more violent against whites, there are more black people committing crimes against white people than whites would even consider against blacks. The blacks are robbing the whites, murdering them, raping them, stealing from them.
Come on. I don't have these stats in front of me, so I'm not going to take what you're saying on face value as far as that goes.
Right. I know for some reason they hide that from the blacks.
What I know is 80% of the crimes of white people are by other white people. But yet there's not a term called white on white crime. So the term black on black crime is really used just to cause disunity and make us look like we some savages, like we the only ones killing each other out here. But when the fact is, Chinese people kill other Chinese people. White people kill other white people. There's all, self-on-self crime in all races.
But the blacks are for the number of blacks in the USA, they're more white, so you're not going to have more crime. But as far as violent crime, the blacks are leading the way. Not only on themselves, but on white people and others as well, especially on whites because they hate the whites. Should black people hate whites?
I don't think hate is useful, like I said.
Right.
I think black people should love black people first before we hate whites. I don't think we need to be hating whites. We need to love ourselves.
One last thing about that, I think. I've noticed that in Europe and America and in the rest of the world, white people seem to do very well. They have, they build, they create. The areas are clean. They go to the moon and they build Tesla cars and they're so creative. And then they come up with a constitution that is about freedom and they're like, let's invite the colors in. And the colors come in and they hate the very people that invite them into their own home. Do you see something wrong with that? Should the whites let the blacks in their own countries?
First of all, none of these white countries, these ain't even their fucking countries. Like, this is white America. This was not even their country in the first place.
Who was
Like,
it?
what are you talking about?
Who was it?
How are they going to invite somebody else into a country that's not even there?
Who was it before they bought it? Before they came and got it?
The original people of this side of the continent.
Are you
Or
referring
not
to
just the Mongoloids either that we see as the traditional Indians. We had Native Americans that looked like you and I that were already here.
Well, I did hear that some Indians were already here, but they were busy smoking dope, pot. They had another name, but they were so high they couldn't even get anything done.
Yo, let me ask you something, man. I know there's always a point when I guess people turn around and ask you something.
All right.
I know part of your, I guess this is part of your, I don't know, shtick.
No.
But it just seems like sometimes you try to go out of your way to make it seem like you hate on black people.
No,
Like,
I love black
what's that
people.
all about?
I love black people. Let me tell you what it's about. I have, if you know anything about me, I have a nonprofit organization called Bond, and we are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Bring it back to God's order of God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children. Because when I was growing up, we didn't have all this mess going on. I don't know about gang violence and all this stuff, hating the white people and begging for affirmative action and welfare and reparations and all that crap. We was taught to be individuals and to work hard and to appreciate what we have and to treat others the same way. And that worked, especially under the umbrella of family. So I started Bond with the intent to wake up black people, to tell them they've been lied to about racism and all that stuff. It's a made-up word. It's not real. And then the message was so good, other races said, oh, I'd like to be a part of that. I can understand that. I need that kind of help, so we open it up to everybody. Now we have an entrepreneur academy where we're teaching young men how to start businesses, all men 15 and up. Starting a credit union, we tutor, we counsel, we encourage them to buy homes, how to save. And so it's about the character of the person and nothing about the color, because you find good in some people, you find evil in some people. And if you don't live by that rule, you're going to lose if you don't live by what's right and not what color. And I'm trying to tell the blacks that, and some are catching on now because we work with people around the world. So I tell them the truth in love and hope that they will get it and wake up and become like people again.
Okay. I mean, that sounds similar to what the Father Law was saying about not being pro-black or anti-white, but being pro-God and anti-devilishment.
Yeah, that's right.
Pro-righteousness and anti-devilishment. If you move in a righteous manner, that's how. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? At that point, it shouldn't matter what color you are.
So,
if you're moving righteously.
That's right, man.